Speaking of the kiss of death, as one of the great proponents of democracy, and you've spent a lot of your time both in government and out on the virtues of it and how to spread it, so to speak, elsewhere in the world. But it's got a bad name at the moment. And even the president has noticed, because on his recent trip, he virtually stopped mentioning democracy. Now, some people say that's a good thing. We ought to get off the democratic horse. But I think many of us, looking at it, say, this is a fundamental underpinning of America's posture in the world, of its foreign policy, over a period of time. If that's the case, and you get into this in the book, how would you amend the way we're going about it?
Well, I hate to sound partisan, but as soon as this person leaves, you know, life will be better. But let me say this. I am a great proponent of democracy. Mm-hmm. I have been somehow associated with the National Democratic Institute since its founding in the 80s by Ronald Reagan, who talked about it. All started when his feeling was that democracy didn't explain itself well enough in the face of communism. Imposing democracy is an oxymoron. But the bottom line is that it is possible to support democracy in a variety of places by providing those who are interested in it with the tools of how to do it. I am very troubled by democracy's bad name. It is in many ways now equated with imperialism and coming in with the military rather than through people. I have to tell you, Jim, it's just about exactly a year ago that President Bush invited the former Secretaries of State and Defense to the White House. I have rarely felt so young. There were 13 of us, and it was a rather strange meeting. And it's a little weird to go back to the White House that you spend so much time in and see other people's portraits and pictures there. It's like, but we were all there in the Roosevelt room, and President Bush had come in and said, first of all, that he wanted us to go into the Oval Office to see how Laura had redecorated it, and then that he wanted us to our help in supporting democracy, and then we had a briefing on Iraq and how well it was going and everything. And so as we were moving from the Roosevelt room to the Oval Office, I couldn't resist, and I said, you know, Mr. President, I'm very glad that you are asking us to support democracy. I just have a small bone to pick with you, which is that you act as though you invented democracy when actually I did. And he did at least laugh at that. But we had worked very hard in terms of developing a community of democracies, but it never was this kind of, this is our way. And there's more than one kind of democracy. And so I think the next president is going to have to kind of resurrect the good name of democracy, not only because I believe, and most Americans believe, that people are better off if they're able to choose their own governments, but if you're looking at American national security issues, we are better off if other countries are democracies. And so I think we need to resurrect the good name of democracy.